Welcome back to Gibbo MMA. We are reviewing UFC Vegas 110, and we'll cover some other news going around in the MMA world. But Steve Garcia finishes David Onama in the first round. I did put up a little instant reaction video yesterday, but yeah, not much has come out from this card at all. The biggest headliner was the co-main Waldo Cortez Acosta getting eye poked. The fight stops. But wait, it continues on. They review it. Waldo had a choice between no contest or continue on. He continues on and then goes on to flatline Ante Delija in a crazy gist. Lots of things were fumbled during that. Like the broadcast was saying the fight's either going to be a no contest or they cannot continue this fight, but then it ends up continuing. Yeah, let me know your thoughts, guys, on this card, but we're not going to spend a whole lot of time reviewing this. I think we're all just sitting around waiting for Islam versus JDM at MSG, but hey, this is what we do it for. We gotta be here for these moments so we can enjoy the big moments. And yeah, Steve Garcia, man, ran through Onama, showed just a class above. Onama just was on the back foot the whole time and just kept circling into into Steve Garcia's southpaw power left hand. He just kept circling to his right, which would go straight into Garcia's left hand, and yeah, he got the 1-2. Garcia did the 1-2 bang down the pipe, which dropped Onama. He weathered the storm a little bit, but eventually got finished. And yeah, that's all that needs to be said about that fight. And the biggest thing that, all praise to Garcia, man. He looked great, and I praised him for his great mic work to get this main event. In his last fight after Calvin Kattar, he called for an Apex main event, which he got, and then he gets on the mic after this fight, and if we look at the UFC rankings, there's some big names that sit just above him. And he calls for a guy in another weight division who he has no chance of fighting, and that's Max Holloway. I don't even think Max Holloway knows who Steve Garcia is. Calls for the BMF title, but we know Holloway Oliveira's the fight to make. They're in another weight class. And he had a bunch of names he could have called out for on that mic, on live TV, in front of the world. He had guys like Patricio Putball, who's sitting at ranked 11, Garcia ranked 12, because that's an easy win for him. Then he's got a big name like Gene Silva at ranked 10. Big name, John Lord Silva. Fumbles that. Then he has Josh Emmett, Brian Ortega, and then Yusuf Zalal, who was cornering David Onama. All you could hear was Zalal screaming for the top of his lungs. Every time he lifts his knee, he's going to blitz. Man, that was a massive fumble on the mic for a guy who doesn't have a big name in Steve Garcia. Whew, I mean, who's running his PR? Obviously no one, but I mean, as long as you're winning fights, that's the main part, but UFC, it's up to the person. It's out of the UFC's hands when it comes to this sort of stuff. Man, their head must have just dropped when they heard him saying, "Oh, Max Holloway." Bro, you got 4 or 5 contenders right there for you to book your next fight for. Another Apex main event probably. And just fumbled it. So, yeah, F minus for the mic call out, but A plus for the performance for Steve Garcia. Now, this co-main event, Waldo versus Ante Delija. Waldo gets a performance bonus, but just the timing of it all after Tom Aspinall only the week before, ending by no contest due to an eye poke. Just not the best look optically for Aspinall. People are continually calling him a quitter, and, that's just not right. Waldo, He got poked in one eye, Aspinall in two, but Waldo continues on. I mean, there's not much on the line for Waldo here. There's no title on the line. There's no number one contender fight on the line. It's just another poorly ranked heavyweight matchup. So he continues on. Like, if he loses, I mean, yeah, he might drop down a few rankings, but there's not huge cost for his title aspirations. So he continued on, whereas Aspinall, it's a huge title fight, and you don't want to be giving up your title and your bargaining power at all. So, but well done to Waldo, man. He goes back out there and finishes Ante. And I gotta say, Ante, man, he thought he won the fight. He like, it looked like he won it. Huge adrenaline dump. Then has to go back out there, regather, and then just got overwhelmed and finished. But let me know your thoughts on that ending. Yeah, I'm a bit over it. I'm sure you guys are over it. Just UFC every week, man, is just becoming a bad situation after another. It seems like I'm not blaming the refs. I'm blaming the commissions for the standards they are setting for these refs. Because a point wasn't even taken once the fight continued. Like, I just don't get it, man. Like, go poke people in the eyes if you're a fighter, because you're not gonna get a point taken. Yeah, you might lose, you might get a no contest, but if the fight continues, you're gonna be in a much better position. Obviously, Ante, I think the adrenaline dump was a huge factor, and he couldn't refocus. But once that fight restarted, he's fighting a guy who's got one eye. He's got vision, 100% in one eye, and the other eye is cooked. And that's just a huge advantage. So the right guy won. Waldo, I'm glad he went on to win, because you shouldn't be winning by an eye poke and then eye poking someone and then TKOing. We saw Chris Weidman do that. He got away with it, but yeah, that's enough of that. Let me know your thoughts on it. Can't believe a point wasn't taken, and yeah, that's just that's just an apexy thing right there. Then we had this huge betting scandal that's going on right now with the Valle versus Isaac Dolgarian. Dolgarian, a huge favorite. And then half an hour or hour out from the fight, his price just started drifting out. The Valle started shortening in as the underdog, and him to win in the first round was like plus 850, and then a half to like plus 400, plus 450. And yeah, so right now there's a lot of a lot of conspiracies, and some American sports books were giving credits to some bettors on that fight because it looks sus. Isaac Dolgarian apparently has 100% takedown accuracy in the first round or something. He butchers it and can't defend a rear naked choke. DC the whole time was like, what is this guy doing? I believe he was punching, unless I'm getting that mixed up with the Charles Radke and Daniel fight. But if you're on your back, someone trying to rear naked choke you, I think it's pretty simple that fight the hands. You don't be doing hammer fists from the back. Like, you just leaving yourself wide open, and because there's not a lot of power generated. Like, what damage are you doing? Yeah, let me know your thoughts on that, because I don't really care. I didn't have a bet on it. Apparently, Dolgarian used to train with James Krause. I believe that's his first name, but Krause, who got investigated for betting scandals. So yeah, wishy-washy, and you can clearly see my care factor is pretty low. But yeah, like, this is what I do anyway. Just review previews, whether it's a shit or good card. But we got some interesting outcomes from this, and it wasn't the fights. We had a lot of submissions. I tweeted out this was a UFC BJJ event. We had 6 submissions, 4 decisions, and then 2 knockouts, the last 2 fights. So a lot of submissions. And we saw some guy get submitted put to sleep, and Chris Taeyong, the ref, didn't see the tap, so bit of a late stoppage there. He was on his back, his hand that tapped, I believe, was on the other side of the ref, so he didn't end up seeing, which is unfortunate. But the ref was aware, like, to look and see if he was out. So he was probably it was probably 5 to 8 seconds after he tapped. There was extra time he was getting choked, which is a long time. But it could have been a lot worse. There's some refs that'll just stand there and not do anything and just go, oh, like he's not tapping, so he must be all right. But it's because he's out. That's why he's not tapping. And yeah, prelims, women's bantamweight division, man. They got stuffed on the prelims. A top 5 ranking fight ends in a split decision. Jeez. What are we going to do with that division? I say we just go, once it hits 125 flyweight, and then from then on, it should just be women's open weight, heavyweight. There's just not enough talent coming in to that 135-pound division. There's just not enough, and we got to open the weight class up so we can get more talent to come in, because Kayla Harrison, who is the champ, was fighting at 145, and she's killing herself to make 135. So just open up the weight. Yeah, because this division's slowly dying. But that's UFC Vegas 110 done. We got another week. Bonfim versus Rude Boy Brown next week headlining. That's a good main event. We'll preview it, but just another Apex card to get through. This is just the low part of not the lot, like the down. This is just a down sort of part of the roller coaster, because we're going to get that huge high of MSG. So this is, just ebbs and flows of the UFC events. This is why I say we don't need 42 events a year, and it does become a bit watered down, because it's good to get these fighters out and fighting, earning money, developing their skills. But man, it's tough to cover the sport when there's this many fighters and this many events, and it's not getting you up for anything. But it is what it is. Fighters are getting paid. It is their way of making a living, and we can't do no more than 42 events a year. Any more would be cooked. But let me know your thoughts of Vegas 110. There's not much else to really touch on, to be honest. I mean, this fact I've spent 15 minutes or so talking about it is more than enough. Now, World Series baseball. We just had LA Dodgers go back to back. Toronto Blue Jays, they were looking to break like a 30-year drought or a huge drought. They fumbled the bag in Game 7. The last play was pretty sick. The double out, the pitcher obviously pitches it, and then the guy hits it, and his baseball cracks in half. It snaps, and it ends up being a double out. They get second and first base. Bang, bang, World Series. It was pretty cool to watch, to be honest. I'm a cricket guy here in Australia. Baseball's slowly coming about, but cricket's our national sport. But there's some similarities. Someone throws or bowls a ball, and then there's a batter who hits it, and then you have fielders. And so right on to LA, back-to-back Shohei Ohtani, putting up GOAT numbers. And another news outside of MMA, Javo69. If you've never heard of this guy, he's the one that he's a pitch invader who dresses up in the team's kit and joins them in the national anthem. So Australian Kangaroos rugby league team are over in England playing the Ashes tour, and during the anthem, Javo69 has the Kangaroos Australian kit on, and he lines up with the players and ends up at the start of the line. and gets through the whole anthem. And yeah, I want to see Javo 69 in the octagon. I want to see him somehow walk out with the fighter or be dressed as a fighter, walk out, and then end up in the octagon somehow. That would be hilarious. Javo 69. If you see this, I mean, not many people have seen this, but worth a call out. Get yourself in the UFC octagon, man. I challenge Javo to get himself in the UFC octagon somehow. I mean, we'll put a GoFundMe or something for his fine that is to be, but that'd be hilarious because he's done it like in the Indian cricket team. He's done it for English Premier League teams. I think he was at the World Cup, like Argentina or something. Yeah, funny stuff. And now Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey. She's been circling the headlines. Been a while since I've heard from her because her rise. I've got to bring up her fight stuff. She's on the Mount Rushmore of MMA fighters because she, catapulted the sport, especially for women's sport. She's inspired a lot of young girls to get into sport and particularly MMA. And she was on the. Sorry, I'm just searching her on Tapology. She was on But Kreischer's or Tom Segura's podcast, just talking about how, the MMA fans don't like her and this and that. And then went to WWE, same issues there, and saying, MMA fans got their mouths around Habib's, what. And yeah, just really seems to have a lot of bitterness, a bit cynical on her views about the MMA community towards her. And when you start talking like that, you wonder why. I'm a huge fan of Ronda. I never realized because I've never really like kept up to date to what she's been doing. But she's just come out guns blazing, just shitting on everyone and wondering why no one she thinks seems to like her. And I guess that's why. I mean, I like her, but after hearing that, I'm like, geez, bit negative. I'm sure if you walked out to your seat at a UFC event, you'd get huge cheers. But yeah, Ronda Rousey, she last fought in 2016, so almost 10 years ago in the UFC, and lost to Amanda Nunes, who is the women's GOAT essentially in MMA. Like, it's not a bad person to lose, and I think that Holly Holm loss in Melbourne was a tough one, and yeah, didn't seem to take it too well. Like she has an MMA record of 12-2, and like she lost to Holly Holmes and then Amanda Nunes, which was a poor matchup to take. Only a month later, so she lost to Holly Holm and sorry, a year later. I was gonna say, geez, yeah. So she had a great run. Like she just showed like women can get paid crazy amounts of money in sport as well if you know they can promote and get eyeballs on them. And yeah, she was like the highest paid fighter at one point in the UFC. And yeah, now she thinks none of the fans care or like her. And yeah, I didn't have those feelings at all. I was always just like, yeah, where is Ronda? What's she up to? Because I don't watch WWE like that. And I heard that ended bad for her. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on Ronda Rousey post career. Because and during, like, I was like, yeah, Ronda, sick. Eyeballs to the sport. I mean, the huge fight with Misha Tate, and her run was awesome. And now it seems pretty bitter ending to it in her eyes. But yeah, we're all just chilling. We've got other fighters to worry about who are fighting. But yeah, you see guys like Oliveira, Jose Aldo, Chuck Liddell, Mark Coleman, like all these fighters have lost and we still love them. Like just because you lose, it's not boxing over here. MMA fans are pretty forgettable and forgivable. And she's got two losses to Holly Holm She's got 2 losses in her career: Holly Holm and Amanda Nunes, some of the greatest women's fighters of all time. So I was just shocked and surprised when I saw those videos. Yeah, I'm pretty sad because like she deserves a lot of praise for what she's done in this sport, a pioneer, and I hope she can get back in the UFC community, MMA community, because if she did meet and greets or whatever, like I'm sure a lot of people would be keen to see her. But yeah, that's pretty much all that's been going on. Not a super entertaining or you know episode. Yeah, we're just going through the motions a bit here, crossing our T's, dotting our I's. Another Apex card done. And what we've got upcoming, Rude Boy Brown. But I hope you guys got up to something productive on the weekend and didn't waste your time watching it. This Apex card, because there's not a lot of fire in me, and especially this week coming. Ricky Simone, he's got my knockout of the month in February, I believe, on the UFC Seattle card. But Randy Brown versus Gabriel Bonfim, that'll be a fun fight. But we got another tough card to preview. But all right, guys, be sure to like, subscribe, comment. I'll be a lot more energetic and hype once we get around to MSG. We're just going to get through this period. But I appreciate the support, and I'll see you guys in the preview. Catch you later.